welcome to this weekend edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. I am Bablo Jonathan. In our top stories, social tensions increasing in Cameroon's economic capital as a result of forceful eviction exercises and land disputes across the town, with the inhabitants taking to the streets protesting over what they consider as a violation of their rights. Also in this newscast, we'll take a look at the consequences of the scarcity of coins across the country. The consequences on business are enormous. The business persons are complaining that they are incurring enormous loss in income daily as a result of this problem. We'll be analyzing it with an economist in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe television. Stay with us. Thank you for joining us at this news hour. Forceful eviction continue provoking social tensions in almost every part of the country's economic capital, Douala, and of course the economic capital of the Republic of Cameroon, with increase in population density over time has resulted to this situation, and inhabitants of several parts of the town are saying enough is enough. They are overwhelmed by this problem of land disputes. Hundreds of thousands of them in the Douala 3, 4 subdivisions and other areas have been forced out of their homes, their houses and properties destroyed. In the Douala 3 subdivision, these inhabitants of Shapuma were on the streets yesterday, marching to the divisional office to protest against a forceful eviction and demolition plan in their area of residence. Here, like in other cases, the authorities are highlighting anarchical construction of houses in violation of urbanization plans, construction of houses without building permits, and occupation of areas forbidden for human habitation, including marshy areas. Many of the inhabitants are brandishing land titles, raising questions on the procedures of issuance of such documents by the Ministry of State Properties, Surveys and Land Tenure. And in other cases, forceful eviction like the one of Dikolo in Bali, Douala 1 subdivision, have provoked protests and anguish among the population. And of course, the issue is provoked in some cases like this one by disputes between the population and private individuals or moral persons, including claiming ownership of the land. Those involved in the Dikolo land problem were also on the streets yesterday, sending distress calls to the administration and speaking out their determination to press for the respect of the rights. They are decrying the violation of the rights and of course manipulation by those they consider and qualify as unscrupulous individuals, pulling the strings in the dark. And in the case of the Dikolo neighborhood in Bali, Douala 1 subdivision in particular, the land title of the person claiming ownership of a vast portion of that part of the town of Douala is indicating that the land title was issued to the individual, as far as indicating that the land title is that of a portion of land in the Deido neighborhood and not in Dikolo. And of course, these problems that occurring here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, as a result of land dispute and forceful eviction exercises by authorities in the town, provoking social tensions. Now we go into the west region of the Republic of Cameroon, where power tussle in the traditional administration is also provoking social tensions and unrest in different parts of the west region. And we go into the Opankam division with a case in point in this newscast. Innocently.
The access routes into Bassab village in Bafang, Opankam division of the Littoral region, barricaded by a group of disgruntled locals.
Est-ce que c'est normal? Vous trouvez que c'est normal? Non. S'il y a les revendications, allez revendiquer sur le gouverneur ou bien sur le préfet.
They are angry with Equator heads called Ngahaven Sang, who decided to enthrone himself with the support of natives from neighboring villages against the wish of the people and over a February 2021 decision of the Minister of Territorial Administration postponing the enthronement of a third-class chief in Bassab village.
L'arrêté est là, tu vois, le chef supérieur en possède l'arrêté.
This by entering into the Lakam, a powerful traditional herd where an elected chief is kept and fed for a period of time to commune with the spirits and impart by ancestors.
Les notables du village Bassa, les élites extérieures se sont réunis pour saisir les autorités par rapport à cette entrée illégale au Lakam de ce frère.
Tension on Friday generated as Ngahaven Sang will be coming out of the Lakam this Saturday for his enthronement. According to the paramount ruler, His Royal Majesty Muche II, who is in charge of enthroning any sub-chief, he is not even aware of such a traditional ceremony. He adds, during a traditional council meeting, they took a firm decision that no third-class chief presented by administrative authorities would enter the Lakam.
Les PV sont là pour les confirmer.
Dialogue, he says, is the only way to settle this power tussle and not forcefully.
Ça ne sert à rien de faire le bras de fer. On peut toujours s'asseoir. On arrange ce problème selon nos règles coutumières.
It was only after arrival of the paramount ruler that the road barricaded was opened. The angry natives promised the same protest if the enthronement they call illegal is not aborted.
In the west region of the Republic of Cameroon, another problem threatening social peace and life and of course the health of the people is cholera. And of course the cholera epidemic is now present in the west region of the country, and the authorities, medical authorities, have announced a significant number of cases, several cases of the cholera outbreak, several cases in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon, and this is being attributed to the poor hygienic state of several neighborhoods, and the fact that several persons in that part of the country, notably in the regional capital Bafoussam and other remote areas, are consuming water from doubtful sources and living in very poor hygienic neighborhoods, and the authorities are now taking measures to put an end to the spread of cholera in the west region of Chieftain Bafoussam and elsewhere across the region of Governor Awafonkan Augustine. On to something else now. We're going to talk about the scarcity of coins in the Republic of Cameroon. This is provoking enormous loss in business, in daily income for business persons across the country, and making it quite difficult even for buyers to purchase things in the shops, in the markets, and just everywhere, especially in major towns of the country. We are going to analyze this with the view of an expert in this report compiled by Fomiam Sonsanda.
Mauricio sells carrot and other perishables at the new Daido market in the Douala 1 subdivision. Today his client Fidel wants carrot for 200 francs CFA, but Mauricio does not have coins to give his 800 francs CFA balance. Fidel has offered to buy for 300 francs CFA, but Mauricio is still unable to lay hands on the 700 francs CFA balance for his client. A veritable nightmare to traders across the city of Douala.
You can even trade from Market Market to Bipanda. You have never sold 500 because you don't have cash. A lot of difficulties.
This problem, experts say, is not unique to Douala and Cameroon, but a veritable challenge to the microeconomy of the Semak sub-region.
So when you talk of microeconomy, we are talking of these people selling the street, people, the taxis, the bike riders, and so on. At time, maybe you are in the haste, you want to move to a particular destination because you spend 30 minutes in the road, in the street, simply because no taxi will take you, and they will be asking you, do you have change? Do you have change? If you do not have, then they will not take you. At time, you can move a kilometer in the market before having a little good, simply because maybe you have 1,000 francs, and then you are looking for something of 200 francs, and there is no coin, to give you change.
A Douala City commercial motorbike rider, Fidel Marine, says he offers 4,400 francs CFA for coins worth 4,000 francs CFA every morning in a black market in Douala.
That time when I want to take a bike, I have difficulty because the bike people will always ask for, do you have money? That's why I'm having.
Economist Edmond Kiati says the scarcity of coins can be explained.
With the development of alternative payment like electronic money, the central bank has reduced, the quantity of fiduciary money available in the economy. And this is also because people got to understand producing money is very expensive. Banknotes and coins and so on is very expensive, producing money. You got some foreigners who are trying to export this money through this gambling and things like that. They're trying to siphon some coins, and then we have seen a lot of coins in China being exported from Cameroon, not only from Cameroon, but from Central African market.
He thinks that the solution lies in the hands of policymakers, regulators, and the general public.
Actually, I think we got to focus on the development of alternative payment to avoid, problem with the coins and banknotes, which are becoming more and more scarce in the market.
The expert believes that the public has a responsibility to change attitude and adapt to the electronic payment procedures and related technological innovations in order to mitigate the impact of the scarcity on their activities.
The president of Senegal, Macky Sall, has sacked the country's health minister after the death of 11 babies in a fire incident in the country. And authorities of the African Union, or better still, African heads of states, are now looking forward to implement some measures and decisions that they have arrived at during the extraordinary summit of African heads of state in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. Roundup of all this in this report compiled by Malaglory.
Recent deaths recorded in the country have exposed the weaknesses of the nation's healthcare system. The Senegalese president, Macky Sall, reacting to the tragedy, fired the country's health minister, Abdoulaye Diouf Sarr, on Thursday, and in that effect announced a 3-day national mourning for the 11 dead babies. The ongoing African Union Extraordinary Humanitarian Summit in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, has brought together about 11 African states. The meeting aims at finding urgent measures to fight humanitarian crisis in Africa. The summit will continue on Saturday on terrorism and unconstitutional government change, which causes population displacement and insecurity.
Malaklo reporting there. Now in sports, Smart Chicken Gabriel brings to us the 25-man list of Indomitable Lions head coach Rigo Besson for the qualifiers of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. His report.
Several weeks of intense training with the national team coach Rigobert Sombanak, the amateur players of the local football league have been free to join their clubs who will be in action in the Elite One Championship. There were a total of 25 amateur players who were invited by the national team coach to prepare for their possible call-up into the national football squad. The players of the senior men's football team will be in camp later this weekend to prepare for the qualifiers of the Africa Cup of Nations Ivory Coast 2023. Due to the suspension of Kenya by FIFA due to government interference in matters of football in the country, Cameroon's professional players will be taking on the amateur players in a friendly encounter at the Douala Reunification Stadium in Bepanda on the 4th of June 2022. After the encounter on 4th of June, the players retained by Rigobert Song will have some training sessions in Douala before they leave the economic capital on the 7th of June 2022 en route to Tanzania, where they will take on Burundi on the 9th of June in match day 2 of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers.
Oh, it's been just put into the path of that.
In basketball, the Police and Armed Forces team, FAP, has been booted out of the Africa Basketball League. The FAP team lost to an energetic Petro of Luanda basketball team of Angola by 74 points to 88 points. Before losing to Petro of Luanda basketball team at the semi-finals, FAP stunned REC basketball team of host nation Rwanda 66 points to 63 points, with the most valuable player award given to FAP's Deson Norman, who recorded 14 points, 3 assists and 4 rebounds in that encounter. The finals of the second edition of the Africa Basketball League will be between Petro of Luanda of Angola against US Monastir of Tunisia, that eliminated defending champions Zamalek Basketball Club of Egypt in the other semi-final encounter. The Africa Basketball League is taking place at the Kigali Sports Arena in Rwanda.
In this FAP roster. Oh, it's been...
Manjik and Gabriel with the latest sports updates on the African continent, putting an end to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Unfortunately, we're not going to have talking point today because of technical challenges with our guest who was expected to join us from Kenya. That's it for today. Equinoxe World comes up next. Stay with us.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.